Hi guys, this is your girl Wakeji Kamore and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. Oh, if you're here for the very first time, Karibu Sana. Please stick to the end and remember to subscribe and also click the notification bell so that you do not miss any upcoming video. If you're a returning listener, you are the person that I really appreciate the most. Thank you so much for keeping me accountable. Thank you so much for keeping me encouraged to do this. May the Lord truly reward you. So we are currently going through the book of Judges and today we are going to be covering Judges chapter 17, which I must say that is made up of story, like now from chapter 17 all the way to chapter 21, which is the end of the book of Judges. It's made up of stories that are not necessarily of the judges of Israel, but of specific people in Israel to showcase. It's just like a showcase, a showcasing of how bad things had gotten after the death of Samson, or rather how bad things were for the Israelites in this specific era. So I'm going to be reading this chapter from the easy to read version, which is the ESV version, and later sharing my lessons from the chapter. So please just stick to the end and follow the story. It's a very short story actually. It's about a guy called Micah, and not to be confused with the prophet Micah. It's just a different guy called Micah. All right, so this is the story. There was a man named Micah who lived in the hill country of Ephraim. So we're going to assume that he came from the tribe of Ephraim. Micah said to his mother, "Do you remember that someone stole 28 pounds of silver from you? 28 pounds of silver is equals to 1100 shekels of silver, which is was enough to set you up for life." So he's reminding the mom, "Do you remember that someone stole 28 pounds of silver from you? I heard you say a curse about that. Well, I have the silver. I took it." He's basically reporting himself to his mother that he's been the one who had stolen the money. His mother said, "The Lord bless you, my son." Which is very odd. Anyway, let's continue reading. Micah gave the 28 pounds of silver back to his mother. Then she said, "I will give this silver as a special gift to the Lord. I will give it to my son so that he can make a statue and cover it with silver. So now, son, I give this silver back to you." So Micah gave the silver back to his mother, and she took 5 pounds of the silver and gave them to a silversmith. You see how much she was given 28 pounds back, and she's taken 5 pounds and he has given them to a silversmith so that he can use the silver to make a statue covered with silver. And as the statues were put in Micah's house. Micah had a temple for worshipping idols. He had his own temple, this guy. He made an ephod. You guys remember what an ephod is? It's like an apron that was used to be worn by the high priests. It's the same statue that Gideon made after he had come from conquering in his battles. So he made an ephod and some house idols. So he had many. It was just one, it was many. Then Micah chose one of his sons to be his priest. Now he decided he wants a son to be his priest. And at that time, the Israelites had no king. So everyone did what they thought was right. There was a young man who was a Levite from the city of Bethlehem in Judah. He had been living among the tribe of Judah. He left Bethlehem to look for another place to live. As he was traveling, he came to Micah's house in the hill country of the land of Ephraim, and Micah asked him, "Where have you come from?" The young man answered, "I am a Levite from the city of Bethlehem in Judah. I am looking for a place to live." Then Micah said to him, "Live with me, be my father and my priest. I will give you 4 ounces of silver each year. I will also give you cloth and food." The Levite did what Micah asked. The young Levite agreed to live with Micah. He became one of Micah's own sons, and Micah chose him to be his priest. So the young man became the priest and lived in Micah's house. And Micah said, "Now I know the Lord will be good to me. I know this because I have a man from the tribe of Levi to be my priest." And that is the end of that chapter. Let me tell you, in this chapter, wow, there's just so much happening, so much wrong things happening. In this chapter, we encounter a man called Micah, who is from the tribe of Ephraim. And again, not to be confused with the prophet Micah. And Micah is a grown man who has a son old enough to become a priest. But clearly, he still lives with his mother. Maybe that was problem number one. And as if that is not enough, Micah is also a thief. And the worst kind of thief, because he had stolen money from his own mother. Messed up situation. So Micah's mother is also a little bit confusing because she had uttered curses to whoever had stolen her silver, which is a total of 1,100 shekels of silver, to be precise. But when her son confessed, she blessed him without any form of reprimand. She then goes ahead to say that she had vowed to give God all that silver, but she doesn't do that. But instead, she gives God 200 shekels of silver, which is 5 pounds. And then she keeps the rest to herself. So she vowed to give God all the money, then she didn't keep her vow. She put the rest to herself and only gave God 5 pounds of silver, which is 200 shekels of silver. And even the 200 shekels that she's giving to God, she decided to make 2 idols from them. And if you know anything about God, he detests idols. So she's like everything is so confused. Mara she's blessing someone, Mara she's cursing someone, Mara she's not reprimanding her son. She has vowed to give God money, then she doesn't give, then even the one she gives, she makes an idol. Like it's just one confused situation. Then Micah decides that he will have his own idol gods. He had his own temple, guys, remember. Okay, let me take you back a little bit. When the Israelites were coming to, before the Israelites got into the promised land, in the book of Deuteronomy, God was very clear, and Moses was speaking for God when he said, rather was speaking what God had spoken to him, and he said that when they get to the promised land, that God is going to choose a central place where people are going to be coming to worship. But who is Micah? Micah is like, Missy and your central place. I'm making my own temple. I have made my own gods. Now, I'm not going anywhere. And even I'm going to appoint my son to become a priest, which of course was wrong because only the tribe of Levite only a person from the tribe of Levite could become a priest. So it's like he knows he needs a Levite priest, but at the moment his son will do. Well, really, confusion. Sorry guys about that. So he later encounters a wandering young Levite who says, I'm a Levite from the city of Bethlehem in Judah. I'm looking for a place to live. First, this is odd, and let me explain to you why it is odd. Because the tribe of Levite had been given 48 cities to live in. Remember, they were not going to inherit any land, so they were given 48 cities to live in. So surely this Levite had a place to live. It is also odd that he is wandering, like instead of being in that central place of worship where all Levites were supposed to be helping in the temple. So 2 things could be possible. That this specific young Levite, because the Bible records that he's young, has left home, probably in rebellion of his, to his duties and his calling. He's like, Miss Sitaki, I don't want these duties and whatever. I want to go and find who I am. I want, how young people are. I want to find out who I am. I want to know who I'm really truly am. I'm going to find my purpose and whatever. So he probably had gotten, run away from home because he was rebelling from his duty and his calling. Or number 2, is that it shows us that in this era, in this time of now the Israelites are living in, that even the Levites, then it wasn't just the people who were messing up and doing all the wrong things, but even the Levites who were supposed to be priests had also abandoned their duties and calling. Man, the confusion in this place, it's so bad, so bad. It seems like this men of Israel now, the Israelites now, or in this generation, they knew about God, but they didn't know his laws well enough. I honestly don't think they were disobeying just disobey, but they were disobeying out of ignorance, which is not excusable. They knew about God and probably had heard about him or of him, but they were all confused because they had now intermarried, they had intertwined with so many idol gods and the pagan ways that they just knew bits and bits of everything. They knew bits and bits of God. They knew bits and bits of his laws. They knew bits and bits of other idol gods. I mean, there were so many. It wasn't just one idol god. There were so many idol gods and so many pagan ways. I have one statement that kind of explains what is lacking in this era, or in this situation, or in this space where the Israelites are at now. The statement is, biblical history fosters obedience. Biblical history fosters obedience. You see, the thing is, if we teach Bible history over and over again, as boring, as tedious, as whatever, as people might think it is, like if we teach it over and over again, it fosters a level of obedience in our children. And if they in turn teach their children over and over and over again, then the next generation will also be obedient. But if this line of teaching biblical history is stopped at some point, then what comes next is the confusion that we are now experiencing in Judges chapter 17. I know some countries or even some schools in Kenya have removed Christian religion education or any form of biblical history from their syllabus. Sad situation. And the results have been catastrophic. But unfortunately, we are so blind to see that the results we are seeing now and the chaos that we are seeing now is a result of the fact that biblical history is missing. Nobody is teaching people of the biblical history. Nobody is teaching people of God and his laws and all this. Even those Old Testament things, they give you a sense of who God is and his character, the things that he doesn't like, the principles to just live by. Biblical history fosters obedience. The Bible also records that there is no king in Israel at this point. There was no king, there was no leader. So the people did what they thought was right in their own eyes. In summary, there was a gap in authority. I challenge you to fill the authority gap in your home, in your family, in your school, at your workplace, and be the one who teaches your kids the biblical history that they need in order to obey God. This is your girl Wakeji Kamore, and this has been Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. See you tomorrow.